Hi, Kris.
Hey, Leann, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. So, welcome everybody to the next installment of Courageous Conversations for Leaders and Organizations.
Yeah, good. So we are talking about building trust with technology. So this is module 3 of our COVID series.
And I'm going to tell you exactly what you're going to learn if you stick it out with us here for a few minutes. And we hope that you do. So, we're going to talk about building trust using technology. We're going to talk about how to create connections on video. And we're going to talk a few tips about, we're going to share a tip about what to do if you've got people who are not going on video.
Right. And really what the problem is, we are experiencing this across in many, many workplaces, that people are not having the same kinds of relationships that they were before when they were seeing each other every day. So the use of technology actually puts us in a position in which we can't build relationships as we did before, and we can't maintain relationships as we did before unless we put a little bit of effort into it.
And Kris, can I just say that makes so much sense what you're saying, because we don't have informal interactions anymore. They're all formalized through these online meetings. So we're not running into people in the hallways or getting a cup of coffee, or just those informal ways that we say, hi, how's it going? And just that all does create connection, and we've lost that.
Yeah, we have. We've lost a lot of the mini points throughout the day that we connect with people. So we are trying our best to revive that and to revitalize our relationships at work, even though we have to use technology much of the time. Then that's the title of this actual podcast, is to build trust through technology. So that's what this is about today. And I wanted to share it's a very short story of an experience I had. I was working on a project team, and I was hired to come in as doing some instructional design work. And I was on a team. We started on a Monday. I worked Monday through the weekend until the following Friday. And we met every single day as a team. And no one ever came on video, ever.
Oh,
And I never saw anybody. I could only hear their voices. And I really did feel disconnected from that team.
what a great example. So let's talk about what we can do to help that, because I know also people out there who have teenagers or middle schoolers or even elementary schoolers. They're hearing from their teachers, if they're in online school, how a lot of kids are not going on video either. So like a lot of kids are not on video, and they can't be forced to go on video, but it's a huge problem, every level of our society right now. So let's dive into some tips that we think from our experience will help you create better connections in the online space.
Mhm.
Okay, so now we're going to get into our tips. So tip number 1 is social time. So how do we take that social time we used to be getting in the hallway and get it in the video space in our meetings? So this can be done in a variety of ways. And one of them is a fun way. And so injecting some fun, even if for just a couple minutes or into the theme of that meeting, that's really going to help everyone feel connected. And Kris, I'm going to hop over to you to just give an example of Wacky Wednesday. Can you talk about that?
Yes, the team I'm working on right now, we do Wacky Wednesday. So every single Wednesday, someone is assigned to do something fun, and it could be share a personal story, or wear a funny hat, or we did one when one of our colleagues was expecting a baby. So we did sort of it was a gender reveal party where we all guessed what she was going to have. She had a girl, by the way.
Great. That's a great example. So just injecting some fun, depending on the meeting, depending on the context, it's just a great idea to think about. It doesn't have to be Wacky Wednesday, but it can be something, be creative. And then the other thing around social time is that if you have people that are not going on video, this is important. It's not something to be shrugged off. I think, as with a lot of things Kris and I talk about here, it probably requires a direct one-on-one conversation with that person, from the perspective of just trying to find out what's going on with them. What is the reason? Not in an accusatory way, but just find out the reason and express the importance of it, because people can't really connect that well if we're not seeing each other in the video space.
Yeah.
So do you want to add to that, Kris?
Yeah, it would be like, I mean, let's say there are times that it's absolutely okay for people to not be on video. It's not necessary, but there are some times that it is necessary. And the way I think about it is, it would be like if you were in the office in a traditional meeting space, or you were giving a presentation and you wanted to look around the room and see what people were thinking, how they were reacting, because you're looking for some input, some feedback. And when you actually looked around the room, instead of looking into their faces, you were looking into the backs of their heads. If that was your experience, you would have really, you've lost the connection. And it really is about the connection, especially so when you need connection for work products, work projects, whatever it is. If you really need that connection, it's absolutely fine to ask people to be on video, because you need it to get the work done.
Yeah, so true. I loved your example, Kris. Turning your back on someone, it kind of, that
Yeah.
really is a great metaphor, you know. So again, the tip there is to really have a direct, curious conversation with that person. There could be a whole bunch of reasons why they're not going on video. The other thing, of course, is finding ways to get people on video that might work for your context. Maybe it's just for a few minutes at the beginning of a meeting. Maybe it's, you know, be creative, you know, but it is important not to just let it slide if somebody is consistently not going on video.
Yep, exactly. The next tip we have is about grounding and focusing when you come into a meeting. And those are really kind of techniques to help people to get into a meeting and to be as productive as they can.
Yeah, it's so true, Kris. And I want to offer up the first grounding technique. So one grounding technique is to ask everyone to offer up something they're grateful for from that day. And the reason that's it's a science-backed technique. Okay, I know you've all heard about gratitude practices, maybe people doing gratitude journals. But when you start a meeting, if you can ask everybody to just share one thing they're grateful for in the day up till that moment they joined the meeting. And it might be something really small. It might be this, you know, that I had time to get a glass of water, that I, you know, talked to a friend today, that I, you know, have a new pencil. It doesn't have to be something huge, but just that practice. What it does is it interrupts whatever else they were thinking and doing before they arrived in the meeting. And I know a lot of people I work with, and Kris, probably you too, they are running from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting, 5-6 meetings in a day, no time in between. And even if they have time, they're so stressed out that they're sitting at their desk, you know, going over notes, getting ready for the next meeting without any mental break. So that's why I love the gratitude moment. There are other things you could do as well. That's just one example. You could do deep breathing. You could ask everybody to take a couple big breaths and to get centered and to forget about whatever was happening before they came to this meeting. And there's a whole host of other things, but taking a moment to help people get grounded and to let go of whatever they brought with them that isn't related to the meeting at hand. And I want to pass it back to Kris to do a focusing example.
Yeah, thank you. I love the grounding ideas. And the technique I use, that's similar, but it's a little different. It is about focusing, and I will do this as the facilitator. So this is part of my opening comments in a meeting, but I use purpose and importance. And the purpose will be, why are we here? Right? So why are we here? If it's a group, if it's the same reason for everybody, then I will describe that. If I'll say the purpose for so-and-so being here, he's an expert, she's an expert, and basically, so everyone knows why they're in the room. And I'm saying physical room or virtual room, doesn't matter, same thing. And then in terms of the importance piece, you're saying the importance of this meeting is because X, whatever that X is. This is you saying, I'm bringing you here, your time is valuable, and we're going to talk about this because we have to make a decision, or I have to share some information. The purpose is is X and the importance is X. All of that helps to get people really focused in on the discussion that's coming up.
Kris, I love that so much. That's such a good point. It not only as the leader of the meeting, as the facilitator, you're just
Mhm.
keeping things really organized. But what you're also doing is really creating trust among the people that come to your meetings, because they know when they come to your meeting,
Mhm.
you're having that, empathy for them, knowing they've come from probably several other meetings. But when they come to yours, they know you're going to get them started off strong, remind them while they're there, why they're there, set, the importance of the meeting, and just do a really strong start. So I just love that tip.
Thank you. Okay, so the third tip is really to refuel between meetings. And what does this mean? This means that it takes a lot of mental energy to be in back-to-back meetings all day long, but that is more and more what our lives are like if we're working from home and we have to meet with a lot of people, have a lot of discussions. So refueling between meetings is having quality time, some real quality breaks in between meetings. And my recommendation is that for 30-minute meetings, you end 5 minutes early. For an hour-long meeting, you end 10 minutes early. It's a little bit like going to school when you had to be in classroom A and then classroom B and classroom C, right? We had some time to run in between classes, but this is important because we need to be able to transition to the next place and to be able to refocus. Otherwise, we're running behind and we're playing catch up mentally all day long. It's very exhausting. So as we allow time to refuel, this is saying to everyone, I honor your time. I honor your energy, right? And to be able to give them a little bit of control over their day. So it really does make a difference.
Yeah, I love that, Kris. It's so important to have just a couple of minutes to get up out of your chair or whatever it is, before you go to the next meeting. So as the leader of the meeting, as the facilitator, to honor everybody in that way, I think really helps create trust and giving people what they need, and to bring the stress level down, maybe even just a little bit.
Yes, yes, it really does make a difference. And I think I'd like to think that people love to come to my meetings because I really do try to practice these kinds of things inside of meetings because it's really important. And sometimes I'll put that at the top of my agenda to say, my goal for this meeting is to get everyone done 10 minutes before the top of the hour, and I need everyone's help. And so basically part of it is I say, this is my intention as a leader of this meeting, but I need your help to be able to do it, which means the person that is extremely verbose at the end of the meeting, we're like, time out. We're going to try to remember, this is our goal. And it takes a while sometimes, especially if the culture is for meetings to run the full hour. And sometimes meetings run over, but these are cultural dimensions inside of organizations that can be adjusted and tweaked. And it truly does build trust, because what we're saying is we honor your time, and honoring people's time is really a strong message.
That is so true and so great. And as the facilitator of a meeting, when you're trying to keep it within the time and you've got people who are talking too long, then there is the need to increase your own skill of getting people to bottom line it, to cut in. I mean, it's not realistic that we never interrupt someone, but you can find your own way to do that, respectfully. Like, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to have to, ask you to, and then you can find your own ways to say, what's the one important thing that you really want us all to get out of what you were just saying, or something just real respectfully, and be able to move people on so you can stay on time.
Yeah. And there is the age-old line of, in the interest of time.
Yeah.
And then fill in the
Exactly.
blank.
But brushing up on these skills, right? That's going to help keep you on
Yeah,
time and help give people a little
absolutely.
extra time, which is what they need.
Yep.
Well, Kris, let's wrap this up. I think we wanted to talk a little bit about how you can start to implement new things as the leader when you might be a little uncomfortable doing so, and what it takes to do that. So some of the tips we've covered, might require you to do things that might feel a little bit awkward to you or a little bit silly, like introducing a gratitude moment. We all know, most of us know this is science-backed stuff at this point, but you might feel a little bit silly, a little bit awkward doing that. And so this is why it takes a little bit of courage to show up differently. And also, Kris, can you comment on the intention part of that and verbalizing that?
Yeah. So for many years, I taught new supervisors. So learning how to be a new supervisor is a real professional transition. And one of the things that I encouraged my new supervisors to do is to take back the skills that they were learning in this program. It was a 10-day program. They got 80 hours worth of like fantastic training. And so taking new techniques back to the workplace, back to the office, trying them out with their teams was really important for us in terms of the application. My tip for them, to my new supervisors, would be to preface something by saying, you know, I've been to Supervisor Basics program. My intention is to be the best supervisor I can be. And I just learned this. I'd like us to try this. Now, prefacing with an intention gives people your why, what you're trying to do. And if you go about role modeling this new skill and encouraging people to try that new skill, you can actually change the culture and change the dynamic in your team. And talk about building trust. When they see that you mean it, you express your intention, then you actually role model it. You reward, recognize all these behaviors. This is a cycle, a virtuous cycle of building trust inside of organizations.
So true, Kris. And that really goes hand in hand with what I've learned in my background of nonviolent communication. When you're really wanting to be open and build trust with someone, if you're doing something in a new way, verbalize it. You know, in the previous tip that we got, if you're going to start to end meetings 5 minutes early or 10 minutes early, tell everyone you learned about this. You think it'll really help. It's a new thing you want to try. Or even if it's a gratitude practice or a focusing practice, let everybody know it's a new thing you want to try and why. And that'll go a long way to create trust in relationships too, because it's not like you don't want to be trying to pull something over on people. You're really trying to help everyone be more connected, more focused, more able to do the work together, and to do so with more wellness, really.
Well said.
Thank you.
All
So
right.
I guess it's time for us to end. But so just to wrap up, what we learned about today was how to create connection with technology, how to bring more connection into the video space with meetings, and how to help if someone is not wanting to go on video.
Yeah. There's a lot of good tips, things to try for leaders inside of organizations using technology. We just hope that you find some useful tips here today, and keep trying with your teams. These things do work. It might take a little bit of time, but we hope that it helps you.
Well said, Kris. And yes, if you're trying something for the first time, just realize there might be pushback. Other people might not like it. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try it. Try it a different way, tweak it. Takes practice, 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 practice.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yeah. Good to see you.
See you next time. Bye-bye.